concept of establishing priorities and giving attention to managing time on the surface may seem to be born from a corporate structure. Yet that is really far from the truth. The Bible consistently speaks of this concept long before corporations did. In the teaching that we call the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus refers to prioritizing. Matthew 6:33, he says, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." What were all the things his hearers were concerned about? Their daily lives, their body, food, and clothing. Jesus was teaching on priorities, and he was clearly pointing them to the highest priority, the kingdom of God. As leaders, you understand everything is not equal in importance. And as a leader, it is your responsibility to function with right priorities in mind. Paul gives us a powerful insight to the source of time management in his book of Ephesians. Be very careful how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. He tells us the key to time management is not efficiency or desire for productivity, but it is wisdom. Listen to the words of Peter Drucker. Time is the scarcest resource, and unless it is managed, nothing else can be managed. As believers, we long to manage this scarcest resource for the glory of God. Keep in mind, we are stewards in the kingdom of God. And as leaders, we should have a deep desire to be good stewards with all that God has given us. Prioritizing and time management ultimately isn't exclusively about ministry efficiency or success. It is about ordering your life around your first calling to love and serve and lead your family while church planning. Unfortunately, poor time management in your ministry context can be very destructive to your family. It is critical for you to strive for growth in this area because your marriage, your family, your physical and emotional health, and your spiritual health is at stake. Consider applying these practices for continued growth in life management. Seek constant wisdom. We certainly need wisdom that comes from above. In fact, seeking God and his ways is the ultimate driver on how we're to live our days. We need to constantly be before the Lord and ask for his wisdom and continually to seek it as you prioritize your life and your work. We also need to seek the wisdom from others. Perhaps a practitioner who is a bit more seasoned can provide value from his experience. Be a lifelong learner on the time management prioritizing topic. Don't hesitate to look for sources aimed toward the corporate world. Perhaps you can discover best practices or a system or an app that might be very, very helpful to you. Secondly, invite the input of other people. Often we have unconsciously established patterns and habits around some of these concepts. Many times we have been shaped by environments that have led us to believe that we are really healthy in these areas. We have normalized poor habits, and we are not able to recognize that in our life. As a leader, we need to lead ourselves, and to do that, we need an accurate perspective to evaluate our strengths and weaknesses. Ask someone to evaluate your time management practices, and then listen and grow. Seek accountability where you recognize patterns that are harmful. Talk to your wife. Yes, she does know, and together you can work to define and practice work and life balance, plus also address reoccurring unhelpful patterns. You must prioritize and then reprioritize. Your role requires you to prayerfully establish priorities for the long term and for the short haul. When priorities are established, then the central tasks take precedence and are clear not just for you, the leader, but for your team as well. The next step is very imperative in this process. It is the execution of the priorities. You need to find and utilize a practical working system that fits you. It's impossible to prioritize tasks when they are merely swimming around in your head and your heart. There needs to be a structure or form that moves your priorities into action. To implement priorities, a clear system needs to be established that can take you from being overwhelmed and disorganized to under control. The key is to find a tool that works for you and your team. While these concepts we are discussing are not first-tier heart issues, yet functioning toward establishing priorities and managing time is critical to executing and leading others. I hope that you will consider what you need to do to take steps of growth.